Welcome into our training camp countdown series where we're breaking down some of the biggest storylines heading into training camp in July. Maddy Glab alongside of Chris Brown, and one position group that's full of new faces is the wide receivers. Of course, there's Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Shakir, but the rest are pretty dang new. Last year, Buffalo's offense ranked second, averaging 28.4 points per game and almost 400 total yards per game. The wideouts were a big part of that success, but some of those new faces could take this offense in the group to an even better level this season. They added the 6-year vet in Trent Sherfield and the 5-year vet in Deontay Hardy in free agency. Then they drafted Justin Shorter, and also there was the first-round draft pick in Dalton Kincaid, who we'll just call half tight end, half wide receiver in this equation. He'll definitely factor into that group this year. And when you look at the squad, when you look at the wide receivers as a whole, there's some guys who are also competing for that spot, aside from the names that I just mentioned. Currently 13 wide receivers on the roster. We know that number is going to get whittled down once we get into training camp and then into the season. So what can we expect from the group as a whole this season,
Yeah,
Chris?
I mean, I think you can expect those top three incumbents to be a big part of the passing game. Obviously, Diggs has been the second most targeted player in the league the last 2 years. He's the focal point of the passing game. Davis wants a bounce-back year. And then for Shakir, you want a step-it-up year after his rookie season where he didn't really get on the field much until the end of the season. And then the other guys have to fill in. And where they can fill in is something that remains to be seen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Dalton Kincaid's involvement in this offense. We know he's a rookie, not putting too many expectations on him, but it'll definitely impact the group as a whole. You pointed to Shakir. What's the next step for him in this offense? And then a guy like Trent Sherfield. I mean, Dolphins players were upset to see him leave. He had over 400 receiving yards last season, and I think could have an impact on this team this year. And in training camp as well, he'll be able to show that. So is there anybody in the group that you think can take that next step this season?
For me, it's Shakir. I think he can really blossom this season. I think the people that were maybe in front of him in the pecking order last year are kind of cleared out of the way. That's not to say that Sherfield couldn't steal snaps from him, or maybe even Hardy in certain situations and places on the field. But I think Shakir demonstrated a route savvy to his game as a rookie last year. He just didn't get the opportunities. And I think now with 1 year to mature, he's going to make a difference and really open some eyes this season.
I think another player, too, is Gabe Davis. He had that ankle injury last year that Brandon Beane, said, hey, I think this affected him, especially in the beginning of the season. We're looking for that consistency, that reliable weapon that we know that Gabe Davis can be. He only had 3 games last season of over 70 receiving yards, finished with 7 touchdowns and 800 receiving yards as a whole, but it's about taking that next step and being a definite target for Josh Allen. Are there any wide receivers that we should pay attention to in training camp? Any under the radar names that you think could kind of poke out here once we get started in July in Rochester?
I got 2 names just to keep an eye on. No guarantees here, but Desmond Patman is a guy that's been in the league, offers some uncompromising size at 6'4", almost 6'5", 225 pounds of possession target that could be attractive to the coaches. And then Keyshawn Johnson, who has been on the practice squad here, I think he's really worked hard on his route running. Can he show that in pads and get off press coverage in training camp? That'll be the key for him if he wants to open some eyes.
We know how important this position group is to Josh Allen and how important it is to the offense and the team as a whole, so they're going to need these guys on the field. Who knows what the number is going to be that they keep within this position group because of how important the wide receivers are to the offense. And Justin Shorter, a 5th-round draft pick, where does he fit in the equation? He's got the size, like you said. Desmond Patman has also got some size. Justin Shorter does as well. He has SEC experience. So it'll be interesting to see the bottom of the wide receiver kind of pool and how they battle it out once we get going here in Rochester. But thanks for tuning in to our training camp countdown. For all Bills content, head to BuffaloBills.com and visit us on social media. We'll see you in July.